Welcome to BW Wellbeing of VW Business World on the Mind, Body and Soul show. Today we have a very special guest with us, Ms. Meena Gupta. Ms. Meena Gupta is a counselor, therapist and a trainer for the last 3 decades. Her work is based on several contemporary and constantly evolving therapies such as clinical hypnotherapy, NLP, biofeedback, music therapy, sound and resonance therapy, therapy, art therapy, therapy for relationship management. She is also a corporate trainer. She uses these therapies in a customized approach for treating various disorders of mind and body depending on the need of an individual. She goes beyond words to make an impact on healing, mental health and healing of her clients in an effective way. Her special focus is adults, teens, and children about 6 years back. She formed a charitable institution under Section 80G of the IT Act to promote judicious and scientific use of complementary therapies. She has presented a number of research papers at various forums in India and abroad. She has set up a health and healing center in Gurgaon as well. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Kavi.
Ma'am, so how have the last 115 days gone for you and what is keeping you so busy?
Kavi, so last 115 days have been challenging for me, as it has been challenging for people around the world.
Yes.
I had to travel out of station and was stuck there and could not travel back home. The sudden change in the outside and the home environment took everyone by surprise, and we were not prepared for it mentally or emotionally. I have also taken time to get used to work from home, and I'm getting so many calls, online consultations from people facing challenges. I have been engaged with organizations, educational institutions, and individuals, counseling them and equipping them with self help tools to face day to day challenges. I've also acquired new skills like I'm doing right now, the Zoom sessions with various mental health issues, with institutions and corporates and even individuals.
Okay, ma'am. That's really nice. Ma'am, when did you first find your inner calling and how did you embark on this path?
Well, this is very personal. Many years back, I had lost a very dear friend to suicide. Could not understand what drove her to take this extreme step. Very soon after that, I was introduced to the Samaritan movement known as Sumetri, which is a suicide prevention center in New Delhi. For 21 years, I remained a counselor with them. And then I moved on to Can Support, which was another NGO providing palliative care door to door for every cancer patient. And now, for the last 35 years, I provide emotional support with therapies. That means that I have gone beyond words. I counsel beyond words.
Ma'am, you're a counselor, therapist, and trainer. How do you balance all your work, these three fields? How do you balance it?
So, Kavi, it's amazing because I don't have to balance them. I customize and adapt my therapies as the need arises. Counseling is followed by therapies, being the protocol. Soft skills training is conducted with groups and institutions to enhance their confidence and skills. Corporates, colleges, and schools benefit from these trainings. So, as I said, I customize my therapies. Like when we go to a doctor, one prescription is not given to all.
Yes.
So, every individual has the different needs, and every individual has to be catered differently.
Could you please tell us about all the work that you do? Like I've already introduced what you do, but a little bit of what you do.
Sure. Sure. My work is mainly based on promoting mental fitness and resilience, steering my clients to deal with their blocks, fears, and phobias. I integrate art therapy with music therapy. When a person comes to me, especially children who are not able to articulate their words of distress, their world of distress and helplessness, they pour out their emotions on paper. It is it is like they have, there's so much which is there that they want to say, but they are short of words, whether it is children or adults. Here I will like to talk about the cancer patients, where I used to do therapies at Can Support, or sometimes they come to me in my clinic. Now they are full of anger. They have been brought from villages and different towns, and they've left their school and their and their peers and everybody else, and here they are going through aggressive treatment. They do not know what is happening to them, and they do not know how long will they be subjected to this kind of a treatment, medical treatment, and they come and beat on my drums and really want to tear it apart because they have so much of anger within. And once they do that, over a period of time, I've seen them calm down, and the parents also have said that they are able to take treatment in a better fashion than what they were able to do earlier. So whether it is children, which is non-verbal or verbal, each one of us need to express those emotions. It can be done on paper, it can be done on the drums like I talked about, or it can be talked to if you can. So this is what I aim at when my person comes to me or when I go to them. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, you seem a very spiritual person also. Uh, Ma'am, so what is the law of attraction?
It's a very good question. Positive and negative thoughts translate into positive or negative experiences into a person's life, as we all know. I practice cognitive reframing, affirmations, and creative visualizations, replacing limiting and self destructive thoughts with more empowered and adaptive positive thoughts. So, this is done over a period of time. It is not done overnight. So, over
Yes,
a
ma'am.
period of time, we conduct these classes with them, and then they are able to move on you know into a more positive state of mind rather than a negative state of mind in which they have come to me.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, what motivates you to help people?
Again, I will say it's a good question because again it's very personal. uh, in my early childhood, I had lost my parents and needed emotional support myself. I am able to connect with people. I'm a good listener and can empathize in their hours of distress. So I can understand when the person is lonely and the person is feeling distressed, there has to be a hand to reach out to them and tell them that you are there for them. That is all that they want. And then they are able to move on into their own world with the confidence and strength that they have acquired with these therapies.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, you achieved a lot, yet you're very humble. How do you inculcate this humility?
Humility is the quality of being humble or modest, as we all know.
Yes,
Every human is equally valuable. You are no less or more than anyone else. A healer has to be humble and not arrogant. Being humble is a prerequisite of my work, and I have achieved a lot because of being humble.
okay, ma'am. Ma'am, I don't have this question in my questionnaire, but this just came to my mind. Have you
Yeah,
ever
sure.
have you ever come across a person who is so full of ego, and like they say, you can only fill an empty cup. You can't fill
Hmm.
a cup that is full already. So, has someone with a
Right.
huge ego come to you and said, just to, or maybe test you, or just your skills, or and like with a huge ego and the cup entirely full? So, have you had such an instance, and what did you do? How do you deal with it?
Yes. See, there are many people from different walks of life, and they feel that they know it all.
Yes,
But yet, if they have opened the door of my clinic and stepped inside, that just shows that they are needing help. So I tell them that I admire you for coming to me. And the moment I say that, then the guards are down and they are able to move, they are able to talk about their grievances, they are able to talk about their issues because they know that they've come to me because they really need a person to be holding their hands in this time of distress.
okay,
So it
ma'am.
is just that, that ego just falls.
Yes, and it
They're
shatters,
carrying that ego. It's like
breaks.
a, yeah, absolutely, because it is like a face off. It is like something, that a shield that they've been carrying along so that people don't think that they are vulnerable.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
they are vulnerable inside. So that is what happens, and once I have accepted them as they are, they really release that that state of ego, and they are able to now come back to their selves and talk about their deepest concerns for which they've come to me.
Ma'am, in these troubled COVID times, what do you say to people who come to you for help when they say they are fearful, anxious?
See, it comes to the same thing. I talk to them about the measure of emotional immunity we have acquired and developed to withstand and overcome adversities and stresses of life and move forward with greater confidence, strength, and stamina. So we have to sort of inculcate that strength that they have already in them. We need the resilience for mental upheavals, which a pandemic and severe uncertainties can cause, just as we need physical immunity to defeat the coronavirus. So we need to be emotionally strong. We need to have the support system of our family and friends, of our peers, of our friends, so that whenever we are down and our immunity is down, our emotional immunity I'm talking about, then that is the time when we can reach out to them, and tell them. As far as the physical, we know that the medical team is all there for us to take us and to serve us and to help us. But it is the mental resilience which is very important.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, as I've already said, you have very interesting methods of working. Could you please tell us a little about that, like art therapy, music therapy? So, how does that work, ma'am?
See, I structure my methods and customize them according to the need of the client, as I have said earlier. My therapies are geared to help people to help themselves, to remove the obstacles and move towards their goals. I work with an holistic approach, and when there is disharmony between the person and the environment, see what is happening when a person comes to me, there's definitely a disconnect between them and the outside world. So when you said that when I customize art and music therapy, like I said in the previous example, that this is a form of non-verbal expression. So they pour their hearts on the paper. If you have seen the movie Tare Zameen Pe, how beautifully the
Yes,
little
ma'am.
boy expresses his emotions on paper. So that is why an integrated approach of music therapy, similarly music therapy, it takes you into a world. It takes you into your mother's lap. It takes you to the lullaby that your mother first sang for you. And you get that kind of comfort that your mother gave you while you were on her lap. So it is like a journey that is happening, and this journey is so beautiful, and they are able to come out of their issues with their own strength and confidence that they already have in themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am.
So it is again creating an harmony between the person and his environment. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, many people they misunderstand hypnotherapy. Could you please shed some light on the reality of clinical hypnotherapy?
Yeah, see, which is very true. When we talk about hypnosis or hypnotherapy, people become so aware. Oh my God, are you going to put us under your control? So there are
Yes,
a
ma'am.
lot of myths, many myths around hypnotherapy. They feel that once you're regressed into an earlier stage of life, a person cannot go back to the present state of life. That is not true. As under trance, a client is here and now, and there and then. Once the session is over, even during a session, we communicate as we would do with open eyes. Now, talking about clinical hypnotherapy, it is not stage hypnosis. It has been researched over years and practiced with great benefits. So there are number of researchers in clinical hypnotherapy, and then they have conducted a course, they've conducted a structure, a schedule, and that is what we clinical hypnotherapists practice and have learned from. So it has to be researched, it has to be learned, it has to be practiced before it is really taken into motion. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, some people are not aware of this, but what is the power of our subconscious mind?
It's a very good question, Kavi, because there are two minds. You're listening to me, you're in a subconscious state. Do you know that? Anything that we do, we are watching a movie, we are in a subconscious state.
Subconscious
We are
mind.
reading a book, we are in a subconscious state. Because we reach that phase, what we are doing, we reach the story in the book or the story in the movie, and we go into a subconscious state. So hypnotherapy is nothing but going into a subconscious state, which is generated through a related to a memory which comes from the subconscious mind. The information from the environment is received through our senses. The information can be visual, heat, cold, noise, sound, smell, taste, pressure, etc. Thus, the power of the subconscious mind can help us to revisit some incident which is preventing us from moving on by rescripting the negative to a positive, we are able to move on in our lives with greater confidence.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, what do you feel when you see people you have healed or counseled doing well in life without any of their problems, fears, anxieties, financial problems, relationship problems, everything? How do you feel when you see them?
Well, in many years of my practice, people who have visited me have gained immensely in building their strength and confidence and overcoming their fears, phobias, and anxieties. It motivates me to gain more experience and skills to enhance my ability to reach out to as many people as I can. And I can tell you, Ravi, that it makes me feel very fulfilled.
Do you feel you also have evolved along with your patients or clients?
Certainly, my journey into mental health and healing has benefited me immensely and taken me into a more meaningful and purposeful life. I have learned to turn challenges into opportunities. Thus, I am keen to adding on more skills and therapies to be even more effective with my client and their needs. Yes, certainly I have evolved as a person while dealing with my patients and clients. When I learn and I see their experiences, it gives me the strength to move on and see what else can I do in my own life to resolve my own conflicts.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, what would be your message to the youth of today?
There can be so much that one can say to the youth today. The first thing that I would like to ask them to do is to have a positive and a realistic outlook. I would again ask them to look for opportunities in bleak situations, striving to find the positive within the negative, be highly resilient, and have a sense of right and wrong, and take the right decision moving on in life. Very important. Accept what you cannot change. Focus your energy on what you can change positively. One needs to exercise one's mind and body, empathize with yourself and others, and entertain yourself in learning new skills, in being useful to others. You can so much that you can do in this lockdown that you could have never done if you were going out to work or carrying on with your daily activities. So exercise, empathize, and entertain.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, what are your hobbies on a personal note?
I love gardening,
Okay.
which gives me immense pleasure to see my plants healthy and blooming. Painting again, which I love. Playing with colors transforms my energy. Listening to soothing music soothes my aching nerves and transforms me into another world.
Could you please give us two examples of people whose lives you have impacted in a huge positive way or changed? We don't need to know the names, of course, but could you tell us two examples? I'm sure you changed
Uh,
many, many lives, but
yes,
just two only.
yes, there are two people who have made such an imprint on my mind. There was this young teenage girl, and both were expecting miracles from me. She was not able to talk much. She was not able to engage in any activities that we were doing while she was sitting on the wheelchair, whether it was art therapy or music therapy or any other therapy that I was trying to exercise with her. Now it became a very difficult. It became almost a block between her and me. Till the time I had to ask her mother to leave the clinic and go and have a cup of coffee downstairs. And as soon as that happened, I could see a transformation in the girl. She was much more communicative. She was, if not talking to me, when I gave her colors and pencil, she was able to draw her innermost anxieties and distress for not being able to move out of the chair as others children do. Then when I gave her something to play, and I played along with her with the beautiful musical instruments that I have in my clinic. Initially, she was very reluctant to hold on to one, but slowly Within no time, she started to play. She had picked up a whistle, she had picked up a drum, and each of these instruments transformed her into another person. This girl who was brought to me on the wheelchair, within minutes, I could see her glow with energy and communicate with her eyes, not so much with words, but communicate with the picture that she was drawing and the drums that she was beating. In half an hour, I could see a really breakthrough between her and me. We were communicating, if not in words, but we were communicating with each other as friends. And when her mother came back to the room, she saw her daughter as another person. She could see the light in her eyes, and her mother felt very good. Now, this was just one session. We had to take it about 10 sessions with her. And with every session, I could see a lot of change in her. And her mother also, when the next time she used to come in, she used to tell me that this child of hers, the daughter, has become much more communicative. She's much more cheerful. And she is really responding a lot to the therapies that we are able to engage her in. So this brought a lot of satisfaction, a lot of fulfillment, like I said, that I was able to break through the barrier which this girl had formed around her. So this is what keeps me going in my world of therapies.
Yes,
Of a
ma'am.
person who had the fear of falling, he had the fear of heights, and a grown-up person about 30 to 35 years of age, and he says that I cannot rent or occupy a flat even on the second floor. I look down and I feel as though I'm falling. So this fear of heights has been there with him for a long, long time, and he had gone through all the psychiatrists and psychologists of the world and had not found any answer to his issue which he was facing. And then, of course, with time, we took him into regression with hypnotherapy, and he could revisit when he was about 5 years of age that he had seen somebody fall from a tall building and die. And that was what had got engraved in his mind, death of falling from high-rise buildings. And when he saw all of it, he could relive all of it. He could delete it from his system, as we do on our computers, and then walk out. And as he opened his eyes, he had resolved that issue and come out of it without any fear or phobia of heights. That again gave me a lot of faith in the therapies that we administer to our clients, to our friends. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Now, my last question, what would be a message to our viewers, especially in these troubled times?
Well, as conveyed earlier, what I would like them to do is to again have a positive and realistic outlook, to be resilient, to have our armor of resilience, so that whenever a pandemic of COVID enters their mind or their body, they're able to fight it with, with a lot of strength, mental as well as physical. I would convey to my viewers the importance of well being, of self care, about mental health fitness, and not just physical fitness. I would like to convey to my viewers to have mental and physical resilience in your virus guard if the virus manages to come in. So, what we need to do, not only the youngsters, but everybody, we need to prepare and prevent rather than repair and repent. So,
Okay.
this is my guru mantra, not only for myself, for everybody. So, let us be prepared mentally and physically to face the challenges that have come our way or will come our way and deal with them as they come with mental and physical resilience.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, at what age exactly did you start practicing what age exactly did you get onto this path?
Like I said, it has been about 30 years. I don't want to disclose my age right now because you'll know what.
Yes.
So it has been 30 years. I was
Okay.
very young. I must have been what, 30, 25, 30, 30 years maybe, when this incident happened. And that was
Yes.
a time when I was telling my husband, look, I have uh, these skills. I think I have the skills to reach out to people. And I think I need to be giving an opportunity to do with people, to listen to them and to be with them in their hours of distress. And I'm so glad that I did it then, because if we would have thought of doing it now, perhaps it would have been very difficult for me to do it. But since I was already in that journey for the last 30 years, now is the time when I am stable and I can look forward to really acquiring more skills and knowledge into this area and reaching out to people who really need me. And I need to thank this lockdown somewhere, if it is bad, but it is good, because people have got the time and energy now to focus on themselves, not only the physical health, but also emotional health, which they had been neglecting and they have been putting under the carpet. But we need to bring it out and talk it out and resolve it, whether it is talking it out with peer friends or family, or even going reaching out to a counselor. But it is a must, and we should nip it in the bud and not let it grow and become so bad that it ends in a very brutal manner.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, that's all. I don't have any more questions. If you want to say something, ma'am.
I have a lot to say. Like I said, my 30 years of experience, I can go on, with closed eyes, with open eyes. But I really need to thank Kavi, and I need people like you to really put this on a forum and let people know that there is help available and they should not feel lonely or abandoned at any point of time.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. We're very grateful to have you, and thank you for taking out time. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Kavi. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
ma'am.